Behold, a cold open. Folks, last episode we recorded before the election. We said, I sure hope this doesn't have a weird vibe when it comes out. It did.
We also did a live show with the caveat we will do more to great success. I can't even articulate the wad of cash we got. It was such a good show.
It was such a good show. Joe, oh my God. I was like, so like everyone was great, obviously, because I only booked like my most like trusted friends who I knew were hilarious. But like I cannot emphasize enough how on fucking fire Joe was. And I was talking to Medley after, and I'm just like, how is it that Joe does like zero comedy for years? And then he just goes and does it perfect on his first try. And Medley was just like, this is how he's been his whole life. Like, this is why we worked so hard to get him in our sketch group.
That's, yeah. I mean, the honest answer is because I'm mumbling stupid shit all the time, which is the practice.
You just have to basically keep doing that, but turn the volume up.
Yeah. You just, like, now just use all of your chest when you say the words and don't look down.
That show was great because I felt really happy and hopeful. So that when the next day occurred, I felt like it was my fault.
And it was, and that's fine. Like, you had too much joy in the Midwest, and the devil got in there and fixed it.
Yeah, here's the thing about the machine, which Donald Trump is the king of. He rides it in a big chair that they built in the middle of the machine. Is that machine is gonna have blood. Are we going to do the live show again? Really feels unlikely. I do get the argument that, like, oh, it's important to have a space for kindness and goodness in a dark place. But, like, man, morale is low.
Because, like, the bartender who looked like Chris Fleming,
yeah,
he liked us. What if we're like, hey, can we come up with a different... We're the same guys, but it's just going to be less... Erica and Tom will still be Erica and Tom. It's just like there'll be less reason to talk about headlines because we came up with the new format.
We'll see. If this show we're talking about, if you're not up to speed, is called The Skewer. Erica Dreisbach and I did it for a bunch of years, then stopped because of COVID, and then kept stopping because we were lazy. We did a revival show on November 4th. You can find it. You can look up The Skewer Podcast, November 2024. And you'll hear it. It's recorded and it's great. And fuck, man. Okay. I sort of made this as a joke, but like I think it is important in this cold open that we do sort of focus on a very real thing, which is that like in a dark time, which we're in, and it's gonna get fucking darker, folks, where fascism and evil and cruelty and hatred are winning. They're winning hard. It's important to remember, in all the despair, that like there are still places for goodness and joy and light, and you can be your own light in the darkness. You need to have these strategies where you can come up with something that allows you to remember that joy and hope still exist in the world, so that when you are at your lowest, you have a way to lift yourself up. To that end, you're allowed, it's free to at any time say okay, like Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong 64. You
got to do the thumb.
Yeah. Oh,
you got to do the thumb. There's a body language thing with it.
Yeah.
I'm more of the Ness okay thing, just to myself as I take in information. That's such an interesting okay, because I think that was made for Smash Brothers. They're like, that's what he sounds like, right?
Okay.
Like, I didn't want, yeah, for sure.
He doesn't talk in Earthbound.
No, he's very much like a Dragon Quest guy. Also, his like forward headbutt as he says "okay" is insane.
Okay.
No one should do that.
I love that his eyes are two black dots because
they're Pac-Man, aren't they?
I think so. Close enough. Because like the graphics of Earthbound were just like they have dots for eyes, but like all fucking characters with sprites that small have dots for eyes. But like when he gets upscaled to like an HD AAA,
he absolutely keeps the Millhouse without glasses, and it's awesome.
Okay. Oh,
Lucas does too. Yeah.
So when you're with your friends or family, if you're at work, if you're still employed somehow, I don't know how anyone's gonna be. someone asks you something, you need to make some sound of affirmation. You can sort of give in to the darkness and say, okay. Or you could go, okay.
Fight back and be Donkey Kong.
Okay.
The ape who is business casual. The tie makes him business, of course, but there's no pants on that guy.
Nudity. Fully nude. If someone came to the office with a tie and nothing else on,
people would be screaming. That's all people would talk about.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Anime Sickos Podcast. It's the podcast for geniuses and the only podcast where we talk about the 4 pillars of modern misery: anime, gaming, posting, and jobs. I am Tom, an anime sicko.
I am Joe, an anime sicko.
It is a hilarious time to do this, but we got to do it. We have so many patrons, and here's why. I didn't realize, but something happened on my phone where it lost the password to the Anime Sickos email, so it wasn't getting new emails as they came in. And
so we had a backlog of money.
We sure did, and a lot of it is because of our Deadwood game.
Are you serious?
Well, at least one, because you'll see.
Are we businessmen now?
Yes, I think that we have to be, because again, no one's gonna be employing fucking American human beings to work on the computer ever again. That's just not occurring.
No, I'm going to be pushing boxes.
I would love to push boxes, honestly. How do you get a box job? All right, we got some patrons. We got a New Zealand patron named Rory. Thank you, Rory.
Thank you, Rory. New Zealand dollars, right? Double dollars?
Yes, they're much better than Australian dollars, which, of course, are in themselves much better than Toad bucks. So we love New Zealand dollars. Oh, my God. We're also getting Poland dollars, dude. We're getting zloty.
Because of Deadwood? They love it that much?
I can only assume, yes. It's impossible to say for sure because only one person specifically says that they're doing it because of Deadwood, which we'll get to. This is Sil. Sil has given us 25 zloty.
Thank you. So, imagine the anime sickos as you were as, honestly, Donkey Kong 64. And when you press pause, you see all the currencies we get in our various patron dollars. And some new ones have showed up.
Honestly, Poland dollars is, to me, N64 coins. We got it from beating the Donkey Kong arcade game twice. What a terrible thing to put in your game. Okay, we're back to boring old American dollars. Honeybee 155. Thank you, Honeybee.
Thank you.
This is a terrible name. Watch me use these prehensile nipples to pick up pennies off the floor.
So I like that because it's a story.
I guess so. You could say that. I'm not going to say that. Thank you, though, for your dollars. They spend the same despite the terrible name. Okay, and here's the one. This is the one I was referring to. Tom and Joe made me give them money to play their game. And now I, Tegan, am Anime Sickos canon. I'm going to live forever.
Yeah, we're always saying that. And there's no follow-up joke part.
Yeah. And nothing bad will ever happen to you. Oh, wait, I forgot the election. Another $5 guy, Willem. Thank you, Willem.
Thank you.
I was unaware that there were the first and second Rat Queen, but the third Rat Queen, Zelda, also has Patreonized us. Thank you, Zelda.
Man, you were sitting on a lot of these.
Yeah, man. When I realized that the fucking password wasn't entered and I re-entered it, and it was just downloading 20 emails. I was like, oh no, whoa. And our final new patron is Previous Winter, who I believe is a repeat patron who had to cancel and came back. But we like those just as much.
Thank you. Sorry for having to make you wait. But understand it feels better for us too to kind of do them all at once like this, just because it's like jackpot.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm looking for anything that makes me feel better these days, like saying okay, like Donkey Kong. It's so funny to do that, dude. And the reason being, obviously, the huge catastrophe Remember? Do you remember where you were when the catastrophe occurred? I do. I was at my house. It's easier for me to remember that.
Yeah, I was also at my. I mean, like I knew this was gonna happen. I knew this was gonna fucking happen. I remember telling my therapist like 2 weeks ago. It's like this is loser. I feel loser vibes. We are fucked. And I think there's two vectors here. Yes, there could have been a better campaign. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But also like. You look at these swings, and I just, man, I don't know. Like I don't know if there was like some words you could have said. Like what should have happened is housing should have not been $3,000 for a studio or whatever.
Yeah.
I saw this anecdotally. I don't know if this is true yet. It was just like Washington State, which has basically led the way on like just construction of homes, just sort of dense. Mm-hmm. Residential building did not have the same level of bleed and swing that the other places did, which is interesting if that's true. It's just like I guess the thing that I'm struggling with, people who are correctly understanding that this is bad, there are still two camps, which is like this is going to be bad baseline to the last time, and this is going to be a different thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of in the latter category, but I would happy to be wrong and say it's only like the last time. But I just don't get that sense based on the lack of sort of guardrails. And there was all that puttering at the start of the last time where they were like, is he like a regular guy? Let's figure it out. I mean, the newspapers will still run the like, oh yeah, he's unified the country stuff. But like, I don't. I do not think there will be a better way to put it is I think the only barriers are just like his own interest.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, that's not nothing. He is very old and very lazy and very stupid and very selfish. And it's sad that that's sort of like the thing I'm holding out hope for is that like maybe he won't want to do the work of enacting the evil, but that is a very flimsy fucking guardrail. And to your earlier point, like you just like, are there words that anyone could have said that would have averted the big catastrophe? Like, was there a winning campaign? And like, I have to say yes, because it's like saying like, was the reason Kamala lost because of sexism? It's like, well, it certainly didn't help. But if you say yes, what the conclusion you have to come to is therefore no one can ever run a woman, which like, well, that's sexist in itself. Like, it requires
that will be the takeaway for like the consultant type. Like, yes. Absolutely. Like, it will be the message.
Every single Democratic Party person on CNN has said the same thing, which is this election just shows that transgender stuff is just too crazy. Honestly, I always thought it was crazy. I've been scared to say this and that because I'm afraid I'd get canceled. You get canceled for anything these days, and you're just like, oh my God, I hope these people fucking kill themselves. Anyway, but the reason that it wouldn't fucking happen is, as you sort of imply, like the thing people want is for life to not fucking suck so bad and be so hard. And the only way that can happen is if something like is different, and it's like is really different.
Yeah, so if every election that was the last one, but if there were more, it's just like, do things suck? They do, because they're going to suck forever. So we're going to vote the other guy for the change thing. Mm-hmm. And then it would, in a normal sort of like environment, that would be the back and forth. But like, I do not, people who talk about 2028 with like certainty, it just feels like a little adult Santa believer.
Yeah, I mean, here's how it is. Say we get the 4 years occur and it is a massive failure and Trump really fucks it and everyone acknowledges that things get way worse. And then the Democrats run another fucking Joe Biden Kamala campaign. They're still going to lose because what will they be offering?
Why was Hillary there twice? Like, the fact that she was like, I'm helping out was so fucking funny. It's just like, it's just
like so only times in my life that a Democratic politician has run on a campaign of like, hey, I will make big changes that will structurally improve everything. The only 2 times that has ever happened is Barack Obama, who won big time.
And to great effect.
But he was a lying guy, and it was not true. So the change never fucking occurred. And then Bernie Sanders, who did mean it, but he got rat fucked fucking hard.
And the heart attack gun. Let's not forget the heart attack gun.
The heart attack gun. Yes, he got hit with the heart attack gun. I'm so fucking...
The perfect position to be in terms of just catching votes is, things sure do suck. I would like to change that. In parentheses, I'm not really going to get to that. Because then you just, you get the momentum of the change candidate, but then you get to just hang out.
And somehow, eventually, this does catch up with you because, I mean, if you are, if the fucking entire apparatus of the country's higher leadership is just stuck in, like, I'm not actually going to do anything because I don't want to, it's hard. Well, that's how you get no new construction. That's how you get so that, like, the idea of building high-speed rail or even just more fucking CTA lines is so laughable to, I tried, Joe, to imagine a world where a new color of CTA line gets built in my lifetime, and, like, I can't even imagine.
But that's because the blue line used to be 3 lines, and they converted one of them to pink. So... On that, in terms of new construction, no. But I don't want to be too optimistic here, but a recoloring could happen in our lifetime, Tom.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not talking about recoloring. I'm talking about, like, because that's, I mean, new construction as a metaphor for, like, structural change. Obviously, you can have new construction even under an evil regime. We won't, because...
Yeah, they build prisons.
Fuck, dude. But, like, you get what I mean. Like, it's so fucking, like, again, this shouldn't be easy for, like, we should have no insights. That was another takeaway.
Yeah, that's a very frustrating thing, yes. It's just like...
This should be so far above us.
I hate that I have a lock on this. It really sucks. I shouldn't. There's a lot of reasons that keep me from understanding certain things, so why this one broke through, I don't know.
Yeah, and, like, if the fact that someone of my intellectual caliber, with my exposure to the facts, limited as my exposure has been, am able to, like, fucking hit upon it exactly, which is like, oh, there's the Democrats offered no substantive plan for change because to offer a substantive plan for change would mean they had to actually enact policies that sometimes do not go with the wishes of their donors. Therefore, they have to offer this vision of a sort of status quo, but that doesn't really work when people don't like the status quo. And then I bet that when they're done and lose, they'll say, our vision of the status quo was not racist enough. Obviously, people love racism, so we were offering them a product they didn't want. And they don't understand that the reason the product was not wanted is because the product is one where a studio apartment is $3,000 fucking dollars. Why do I know that? Like, how come I know that?
When your rent is really high, this is something I learned in grad school. This is a very advanced theory. Your life sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It fucking blows.
Yeah.
And you, like, how do I put this? The switch to Kamala, I think, was still correct because he couldn't talk.
Yes.
But nonetheless, we are talking about, like, okay, so you have someone who's, like, not the actual incumbent with the incumbent baggage of the high inflationary period with all the crazy rents and everything as well. That seems like the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, maybe the move is not to campaign. I'm serious because like the more you can have your just like media apparatus fill in the blanks and you just don't do stuff, it seems like that's better,
dude.
In terms of outcome.
I'm about to confess, it's not that big a deal, but I think it's kind of funny because I hadn't really realized I was doing it or spoken to anyone about it. I never, since Kamala became the nominee, until her catastrophic failure, where she lost in a landslide in an election that was called on election night, in an election that was hyped.
Everyone was like, get ready for a long week.
Yes, it's like, now, here's why it takes a long time to get results. Okay, remember, you didn't know about 2020 until Thursday. And since she was made the nominee, I never listened to. I had not heard her voice. I did not watch a single frame of video of her because I'm just like, well, I'm already voting for the not Trump person because of I'm fucking handcuffed. Like, I'm in hell, and that is simply what I have to do, no matter how much I don't want to. So I have to vote for her. So, like, what benefit would I get from watching her speeches? Because I know that the only thing that's going to happen is she's going to say some shit like, I love Israel, biological males shouldn't play women's sports. It is insane how every fucking person is so laser focused on, like, no one who likes Sonic too much can play a sport ever.
They've absolutely, like, overnight.
It's just like the idea that, like, of course, like, we were so ridiculous, we were embarrassed, we were so wrong. We never should have implied that there's any human alive who does not want to mush these people's brains up in a barrel like how they used to make wine.
The other really grim thing is that previous elections, like, all the anti-trans messaging was a non-starter. And I don't even necessarily think it was effective here, but it was part of the shotgun blast.
Yeah.
So that is now going to be justification to be like, oh, like, that was, no, this is what's hot right now.
It's
and I realize when I say hot right now, I'm talking about people's lives and dignity, but, like, this is how the people that, like, fucking make these decisions see these things. It's so awful.
It's so awful. You know, here's another thing that fucking blows my total ass. And you mentioned this about the shifts. The big shift that everyone's pointing at and going, oh no, is Gen Z men who are the Hitler youth.
I'm not surprised just because, like, this is happening, like, literally everywhere. The South Korean election, the current president of South Korea's main platform was essentially like, bitches, right? And I'm not kidding. Like, there was just a total anti-feminist backlash, which is also, like, effectively reshaped society because, like, women are, like, afraid to even say that they have feminist beliefs or whatever. It's awful. And when that happened, and I also think about just how, like, I want to say, like, oh, it's the phones is, like, obviously it's a dumb thing to say, but, like, you should not be beaming even if it was content of, like, a dog playing, you shouldn't be beaming 3 hours of that into your head, let alone when it's obviously agitating you. Like, what we have right now is, like, a more extreme version of when, like, AM talk radio really started radicalizing people because, like, people were stuck in their cars for hours and hours and hours. And then you have Rush Limbaugh just being like, here's the people I hate. Do you hate them too? And then, like, people get activated like that. And now it's just like people have that in their pocket in, like, different flavors at all times. And it's encouraged to participate.
There's no, especially for younger people, there is no sort of, like, idea of legitimate traditional media. Like, there's no people, they would, a Zoomer would never turn on the TV. The TV is like, is that a monitor for a computer? It used to be that Rush Limbaugh was like, if you were a crank who was just sitting at home in front of the radio all day, or a trucker, you would listen to Rush Limbaugh. If you're like a kid, you would never. Now, like, instead of watching
it's
Nick
snuck
Jr.
in between your fucking videos.
Yes.
Okay, like, there's just, like, this clear pipeline, and we're not the first people to notice this.
Yes, we are, Joe. Like we're so fucking smart. No one's thought of this. No, sorry.
But it's just like there are literally financial incentives in the form of advertising to push this stuff because it's also addictive.
Fucking, they thanked Aiden Ross, the fucking, like, Nazi child who does hate content for preteens, by name, and it's just like, oh, yeah. So, like, this is it now, huh? And
so when it was clear that, like, an Evil Money move was just to back influencers and just, like, do that, I was like, I don't know, is that going to be a good ROI? I was so wrong, dude. It's, like, the best ROI because, as you said, like, there is no other alternative media. And here's the other thing I want to stress that's going to drive me nuts. In this conversation we're having about, like, yes, it's all just beaming crap in your brain. People who are, like, almost there getting it are going to be like, yes, they will need more legacy media, as if that's not fucked.
Yeah.
And people are like, we need a sort of lefty alternative. It's too late. Sorry, like, when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 fucking years ago.
Yeah. Also, the entire fucking thing about the grassroots sort of propaganda network of podcasters and such is that it's just a fucking volume game. It's just numbers. You just need to absolutely drown people with this. Mm-hmm. So that like a rube who could go either way is going to just inevitably get caught up in the tide, and without realizing he's being swept over here to get swept over there. And the way that you do that is massive, massive funding, where the ROI that you're expecting to get is not a dollar amount, or at least not a dollar amount from that specific investment, but a dollar amount based on you will change society such that your rich person's interests are forefronted. And
also, if you hit a critical mass, it will become financially stable. Yes. But they fund these things because the goal is not to make money.
Here's why there will never be a equal like blue propaganda podcast ecosystem, is because the thing that the fucking rich donors who are able to make it happen want is for evil to thrive so that they can make more money. And if there is someone with the money to fund such a thing for the left...
They're like a third-way Clinton person.
Yes, because they realize correctly that like to actually fund this means that I won't make I won't make a return on the investment in the short term, because the podcasts don't make money. So that's not going to work. And also, if the ideological message does like take root, that means that there will have to be things put in place that tax me more and make it less conducive for billionaires to accrue great wealth, which I don't want that either. So why the fuck would I do it? That's why they don't do it. These like George Soros, honestly, is the most like bitch ass, like fucking terrible. He's so
everybody
bad
should
at
be
being
gay.
George Soros.
If he has that level of propaganda network, we should be on planet gay. But no, he
also. Like, why isn't there a left-wing media enterprise that pushes left-wing ideals in an interesting way that young people like, that focuses on masculinity? There is, motherfucker. It's Sanity Sicko's podcast. Skill issue for not listening to it. We've been doing this all along.
Yeah, I do not. Just like, it's really hard out for the fellas, right? I just don't relate. Sorry. I'm fucking, on that front, I rule. Like, I have never... had issues. My life is S rank in that regard. People like, we know this. Tom and I went to a coffee tasting, as we talked about. People immediately like me. And like, it's just, I got the Joe shtick. It's the Joe show. I get it.
We had like a little group form around us.
Yeah, sorry you didn't get hugged enough. Or maybe hugged too much. I don't know how it works.
You got the appropriate amount of hugs, but you could tell that they were fake. That they didn't have the juice. But like, when people talk
the
about...
The other thing is, it's a bunch of... the thing I can't like decouple as far as an image goes is, it's like, imagine a bunch of guys just being like, I'm isolated, this sucks. It's like, look, didn't they make out with each other? Like, what the fuck? They're all saying it. So like, I have you hang out. Like, do you know about Mario Kart?
If every fucking time I see someone be like, the real problem is male loneliness. You see, because masculinity, it like forces these men to be lonely and not express their emotions. It's like skill issue. I have no trouble with this. I talk about my emotions all the time. I complain about things. I say that things kick ass. I talk about when I feel sad. I talk about when I feel happy. Loneliness. I simply, when I'm feeling lonely, I hang out with the boys. Like, what? I don't see where the difficulty is supposed to come up. If ever difficulty does come up, it's because like everyone's tired and busy, which. Surprise!
It's keeping me from hanging out with the boys.
That is not
I get you.
Gender specific. Also, the whole like the reason this is happening is white men are demonized. What do you expect? What do you expect white men to do when you demonize them for 10 years? That is the most hilarious shit on earth. That never happened.
If life is making up a guy and getting angry at them, what happens when everybody collectively votes as a block about a made-up guy. Like, we're fucked. You understand me?
Yes. Yes, because, like, you can't refute the made-up guy because there's no, like, it's made up.
We all saw the Chupacabra. Like, we were all there. And to be clear, very clear, the, like, insane, isolating, and radicalizing loneliness is, like, bad. It is. It sucks. But, like...
It's not like a magic thing that, like... what am I trying to say?
There's agency on their part a little. Like, the framing seems to be like, someone has not put the right clubs in front of these boys. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? No one does that about anything else, ever. Everyone else is excited to point out that you did it wrong. You fucked up. Like, you don't got the goods. But this is, why isn't there an elk club for the little guys?
Yeah. I mean, like, if we do list, like, what are the structural things that do cause loneliness that are not, based on the person's agency, and no one has enough money, everyone's in a car all the time, and everyone has to work a lot of the time to make money. Which
everyone is either gambling or just having to see it all the time.
So what would make that better if there was a social welfare safety net, if there was a stronger public transit system across the country, and if there was more housing? Well, nobody wants to do that. The Democrats do not want to do that. They will never do that. So that's not fucking happening. Honestly, just the other day I was feeling lonely, and you know what I did, Joe? I fucking texted my boy Damien, and we're gonna go hang out next weekend.
Yeah, like, you didn't need, like, a new policy, like, presented to you.
Honestly, every time I hear about the male loneliness thing, and it's like, this is a real thing, you can't dismiss it. I'm like, oh, then I guess that I have just been living with weighted clothes my whole life, and yet I still learned all of my ultimate techniques. Like, sorry, folks. I felt lonely, not for, how do I put this? Lonely in a crowd type thing, for other mood reasons. So it's like, I don't relate for this particular kind of despair. Mm-hmm. Which is funny because there's a lot of it, but I just have a gap in this regard, because I'm a lovely guy. Yeah. And also, that's another thing. That's why the Anime Sickos podcast is this thing that everyone talks about. Why isn't this thing exist? We do. It's honestly, it's everyone. We didn't fail you. You failed us. Not you, listener. You're the success. The people who aren't listening, who should have been, failed us. Why did the pod fail America guys who failed America with their pod? Why would anyone listening to them? They should have been listening to us. We're much better in every way.
Can I say something election related that's not on that same sort of vein, but really, Blue Sky is broken in officially. We did it, folks.
Yeah,
it's a platform that's real now. If you see a future changing election play out on it, it's real. Like, it has been broken in officially.
Yeah. Also, when I sit down to do my like social media checks, because I don't have them on my phone, I have to do it on the computer just to make it so I don't constantly scroll. So I go on Blue Sky, I look at it, and then I go on Twitter and look at that. And man, just like the absolute stomach churning nausea dread I get from turning Twitter on is getting worse and worse. And you know what it really is, Joe? It's not as though the actual content has changed in any way, but the fact that everything Elon did to Twitter has, again, evil wins, hatred and stupidity vindicated again. Like, he absolutely pulled off a completely successful gambit. It worked.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Flawlessly.
No doubt. He's going to be running the federal government effectively. And what did it cost him just to run a social media site at a weird loss for a while? But that is nothing in comparison to fucking basically regulatory power.
Yep.
Assuming, of course, they let him do that. I don't see why they wouldn't. I'm sure he delivered the goods, right?
Again, this is one of those things where it's like, it's so embarrassing to have to use this as the thing your brain clings onto for hope. I can only hope that Elon Musk is too personally off-putting to Donald Trump for him to actually like fulfill his promises to him. I have to assume that when the time comes to like, are we gonna appoint Elon to the fucking fake position we invented for him, and Donald Trump will think about all the times that he jumped and be like, no, that guy's like, I think that guy's like gay or something. And that again, like, this is not. I hate that this is like I sure hope.
This happened in the first term where like watching him turn on like the other ghouls was like, oh, sweet. Like, it's just like, all right, cool. Like, yeah. I don't. The big picture doesn't feel good, but like, hey, at least this is happening.
Yeah. You know what I really hate, and I was talking about this with my mom, and it's just like, oh God, I can't believe that I'm here. Which is like, I hope he survives the entire term, because, and this is a man whose death I've wished every day for years. I hope he survives the whole term, because if he dies, President fucking J.D. Vance is like, again, my sort
of Buggy the Clown.
Yes.
We got lots of Buggy the Clowns.
My fucking flimsy little guardrail of hope of like, maybe he's too lazy and stupid to actually follow through with all. I mean, he's going to follow through with a lot of the evil, but all the evil he might not do.
But Vice President Evil Lisa Simpson will definitely do the homework.
Yeah, he's a true believer. See, like, Donald Trump's a true believer in evil, but he's more of a true believer in like, I want to sit down and eat a burger. Like, I want me to have fucking creature pleasures right now. That's his real animating impulse. J.D. Vance does not look like he has ever been comfortable or wanted to, and so like his only animated impulse is, I would like to enact evil on a grand scale. Hate that.
And that guy is he's an avatar of Peter Thiel money. Like, he just objectively is. So think about this even outside of just JD. Just like, who is the president actually, if he's the president?
God damn. Fucking crazy. And like, I mean, this is the whole fucking Bezos with the Washington Post and Elon being his like little dick sharpener. He's like, so clearly, it's like, I'm for sale, folks. I'll do whatever you want. I'm a cipher. That's it. Okay. I sure hope that's my other like guardrail of hope, where again, it's like, is this so embarrassing that this is what I have to hold on to? Is that like, maybe he won't do the tariff shit because the rich billionaire people will be like, that'll be bad for business, Donald, don't do it. And here's $100,000 to listen to me. Maybe, I don't know, probably not.
See, he doesn't have to do all of it. Like, he was talking about removing income taxes and replacing that with tariffs, which obviously that does not math out. Mm. The other thing is, he doesn't even have to like implement it. He just has to fuck some stuff up.
Yeah.
Because like, once you're gonna introduce complications in a trade like that, there's just like so much chaos long term we are staring at.
I'll say this about chaos. I don't like it.
No.
Only in emerald form, really.
Mm-mm.
You know what sucks is Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
So Barack Obama really chunked it if you think about some just specific choices. Picking Joe Biden as a VP got us here.
Yeah.
The phone call got us here.
Biden not being a one-term president like he campaigned as and promised he would be.
I don't know if that mattered. I really don't.
I mean, people say that if he didn't, well, one, there'd be less bad vibe stink of Joe Biden hanging over the election. I thought it was fucking hilarious that there was a big Google trend of, did Joe Biden drop out on election day, as people were like, huh, where is he? I thought that was fucking hilarious. But the people have said like, oh, if there was a real primary season, we'd have found a better candidate. And it's a tempting thing to believe, but I'm really thinking about who the Democrats would have run in that primary season, and they would all be people who eventually run a campaign based on we will not implement any changes to the status quo. There will be no difference in your life. And with life sucking this fucking bad, there will be no difference in your life is a message that will lose every time. Why doesn't George Soros fucking give us a lot of money? We could, if we were as big as fucking Dan Bongino or fucking like Aiden Ross, we would have swayed the election for sure. People would have logged on and they say, "Hey, did you know you're allowed to like Chrono Trigger and hang with the boys and eat hamburgers?" And
no one will put you in jail. It's fine.
And also, at the same time, believe that people shouldn't go to jail for like being gay.
Nothing, just for nothing. Yeah, I feel definitely a little more doomery than initially. I was kind of numb originally, but I also was like occupied because Ivan was homesick. Yeah. So a little bit more doomed than before. The other thing is that I'm like dreading is just like the degree at which it will be a slog. It's just like this will be.
God, yeah.
This will be a marathon. You know, it's not to say that things were great under Joe Biden, but it's worth mentioning that like the first Trump term, it was like there was regular rot, and then there would be like this insane change just happened. We've just got done with 4 years, for the most part, where like those bombs aren't happening quite as much, and they're going to be happening again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to do the accounting for like energy. Just like it is going to be a exhausting thing, and I say that with every intent to not doom scroll and whatnot, which I've done so already. Which is not. I think I'm just like, it's that fucking bad. What do I get out of squeezing more into my eyes?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this is what makes doing the Skewer live show so difficult in a Trump administration. And so if you didn't hear the recording or go to the show, one of my bits in my opening was like, I sure hope Kamala wins, because if Trump wins, we're not doing the Skewer. Sorry, simple as that. Bye folks. And like I wrote that with the hope that I wouldn't have to play that out in real life. I do. And one, it's a joke, but also the real reason is just that like, it's like you say, it's just living through that and experiencing the things that occur is a slog. And it is really hard to make that shit funny because, one, there is no subtext to Trump. He is saying the subtext constantly. There's never a hidden message. So there's nothing to like expose. And also,
but also if no one does
yes, you have
anything on it, it's like, is anyone going to mention the like the thing that we're all freaked out about? Yeah. That also is maddening.
Yeah, because
so I don't know. We need to just reboot it as a game show.
Yeah, maybe. God damn it, it's even great writers and great comedians, if they get the be in their bonnet, if I want to tackle this Trump thing this month, they end up saying some shit that is not interesting to listen to because you can't make any jokes about Trump. I don't know if I can't. It's very hard to write like a stirring, rousing essay about the injustice because it's just like, yeah, we get it. Like everyone fucking knows.
Also, you've heard it before, like some version of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last time he did a different catastrophe, someone was saying this shit
and the key
again.
points are still key because like they're your community, people, your network are the most important things. Like you can say that a million times, it's still true, but like I just don't see that you and Erica need to like have a show where like you make sure we do that every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that it feels fake. Because I don't know. The other thing that sucks is I really like seeing Erica perform again. I was like, thank God, this fucking rules.
Yeah,
I was so pleased to see her again. She's incredible and funny. Everyone was good, but just I've seen Erica perform a lot of times, so seeing her do it again after not doing it for such a long time just felt good as hell.
Yeah, that again. Sorry about doing that, folks, and feeling those positive emotions. I would take it back if I could. Yeah, no, dude, I totally seeing everyone, seeing the McHenrys, seeing you, seeing Josh, seeing Devin.
See, people yell for Anime Sickos podcast that I didn't know. Like, just like, who are these people? That's a good feeling.
It was incredible.
Getting a big wad of cash. So, getting like a handful of like mismatched bills hits better than like any paycheck. It does. Yes. And like I've had a SAS paycheck, and I've had this, and like obviously the numbers not close, but like spiritually the wad is so much better,
dude. The feeling of having the Chris Fleming looking bartender walk up to me and hand me the big wad from like the register and be like, it's so much. I'm like, oh fuck, yes, because like that was a thing that I was worried about, is that the previous time we did this, when we were doing the Skewer Monthly, we had like a relationship with the people at the venue. They liked us, like they thought the show was good, like but you know, aside from like how they like everyone they book, like even in context,
there was a relationship.
Yes, like even in context, they liked us a lot, and like they knew us, and like were happy to work with us. And being as how the venue is a fucking coffee shop and bar, would you believe there's massive turnover? So none of those people are around anymore. And it was so fucking good to like immediately get everyone back on our side, like they were the same people. Hell yeah. And well, all of that's for nothing. Life's a big fucking nightmare. So here's another thing that sucks. I was doing a lot of doom scrolling. And I was like, is anyone going to speak to this, you know, in a way that makes sense? No. The thing that was like driving me the most insane is this refrain that, like, what do you expect after demonizing men for 10 years? And just like every once in a while, there's like a sane person being like, what do you mean by that? Like when did that happen? Like, can you actually, like, when you say that, like, as though it's just like, and as everyone knows, white men have been demonized, and it's just like the only time that they ever, because one, they never respond, and two, the only time they ever respond is like one time when I was acting like a demon, I got demonized. And it's like, well, that's your fucking fault. And again, what is more demonic than voting for Donald Trump? We were right to hate you.
Yeah, so I would say anyone who's like, oh, it's I'm anxious. I think that's justified.
Yeah.
I think that is an element here. Chances are how you're feeling is not incorrect. I guess it's good to start there.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're just idiots. We are correctly predicting it's going to be bad because it is, but like so you can say that about every aspect of life. Like, oh, it's going to get worse. Oh, I won the bet.
Yeah, I mean, again, what would it mean for something to get better? Someone would
would have to get built. Yeah.
People would have to take proactive action to improve things in a structural level. Well, that takes will. It takes a lot of people agreeing to start doing it, and it costs money, and the return on that investment will come a lot later. And, well, the Republicans aren't going to do that because they love evil, and the Democrats aren't going to do that because they don't want to. So, entropy wins every time. I get, okay, I don't want to end on such a doomerish note. And again, what I'm about to say is some shit you've heard 1 million times from a bunch of fucking inspirational posters. And so take it with that amount of salt. But like, it is the reason why we're going to keep doing Anime Sickos podcast. It is the reason why I still think like, well, maybe could we do the Skewer? Maybe. I don't know. And it's the reason that the thing that I've been doing to sort of like assuage my horrible waves of nausea this week has been working on my next stupid fucking Sickos Disco Elysium-like game, which is like, we weren't joking about saying okay at the beginning. Like, it really helps to like carve out a space or an activity or something that is like good and makes you feel good, and even if it is just a distraction, and the Howling Void eventually reaches its hand out for you, I don't think the distraction is going to do anything. But, man, the time between now and the hand reaching for you, it's not going to make the hand grab you any less tightly if you spend it all constantly fucking freaking out.
this time between now and like when it starts it just feels like we're laying on the train tracks and we're like, oh, it's going to be like a few hours. You want to play tic-tac-toe?
Yes. Don't start screaming now. We know we're going to get crushed. Like,
yes.
The fact is I'm tied up with some of the boys, and like perhaps I'll hang with the boys. Fuck. Yeah. Next episode's about Deadwood.
Yes. I can't wait. Deadwood's like one of those things I could talk about, like Dragon Ball or Chrono Trigger, that's just like, hey, Joe, go. It's like, all right. It's just a wonderful show. I've watched it through twice. I love it for the same reason the show has this weakness, which is it's a show for two people talking.
Yeah.
Like, the dialogue is really good, and as Tom will no doubt get into, you see this definitely in the third season. It's just like, there's like no fucking plot reason for why these two people are interacting other than the dialogue would be really interesting, which is a reason in of itself. But it's just nice to see something on HBO that was like, he clearly just likes to fucking do dialogue, and he's good at it.
So good. So you look forward to that. There's going to be an episode where we're not miserable. Wait. Scratch that.
It'll be in the background.
That, and also I just remembered how the fact that Deadwood only has 3 seasons makes me so goddamn furious. It's almost impossible to comprehend.
Oh, even made worse by the fact that the first and second seasons, if they ended abruptly, like it would have ended, but it would have kind of buttoned up. It's the third season where they're like, next time on Dragon Ball Z, and then it's fucking over.
Imagine if, like, Goku was fighting Frieza, and he was getting his ass kicked, and he was about to lose, and he's just like, if only there was some way I could go beyond, and he starts going,
And it doesn't work because Krillin didn't die yet, and then Krillin dies.
No, and not even that, dude. If he's going, and, like, some little rocks start floating around him, and you're just like, what's gonna happen? And right in the middle of a scream, it's just like cuts to credits, and it's like, and that was the last episode of Dragon Ball Z, and you're just like, what?
And then there's a movie where Goku's old.
Yeah, a movie where Goku's 30 years older. We haven't watched
all the performances in Deadwood are phenomenal, but I also like do not. Actually, I'm of two minds on this. I don't want to see everyone aged because like it took so long, but also maybe it won't look as bad because everyone in Deadwood, it's dusty and gross anyway. Mm-hmm. So you could just blast everybody with the dust machine.
Maybe we might watch the Deadwood movie together for Patreon. Anyway, that's enough of this. I'm going to wrap up. I don't want to keep yapping because of my depression. I hope that was as cathartic for you as it was for us. So you got to complain about this shit. This is what we're talking about. This is what they mean when they say masculinity makes you hold your emotions in. You got to let it out. You
don't have to solve anything. You can correctly say this is gonna suck. Yeah, and that's not like doomerism. I mean, it's like I am clocking what is coming at me. That's not stupid.
Also, I would say if you see people posting about how you should buy a gun, I would like to really strongly advise you to think very hard about that and perhaps not do it. The way that it's often used as sort of like a badge of like, I'm one of the cool radicals. It's like, you are not thinking through what this means.
Well, the other thing is the deciding factor shouldn't be a post you saw. So.
Yeah. God, I hate, that was one thing I really hated about the first Trump regime was the constant flood of posts from smug people saying how like obviously it's time to buy a gun. And it's just like, you do not like I do not think you have thought this through.
I don't want the escalatory kill item in my house all the time. Like even if we ignore the who winds up shot by guns in homes, it's just like now there's the fucking nuclear football.
Yeah,
I'm just stressed all. Like I don't know. I just don't. I'm not comforted by the idea that I could get one.
Yeah, and it's just like even if you don't shoot yourself or accidentally have someone in your family shoot someone else in your family or themselves. This was something that's gotten in my mind from our homie Codex Melcher, who mentioned that it was a thing they used in their debate club days in high school. When someone would talk about like self-defense shooting someone, they would always go like, do you understand like how your life changes forever when you kill a human? Like,
not to be like, oh, won't someone think of the murderers? But this is literally an element. Like, it makes you fuck you for killing, but also now you're gonna like rot inside generally, unless you're like truly fucked up. In which case, it's sort of not the issue now. But it will rot you away.
Yeah,
like it does.
And like, yeah, maybe like I guess there's a argument to be made, like when the Gestapos come, you gotta have your gun to defend yourself from them and kill them. And so like, I guess it's good to kill Gestapos, but like, again, like, are you ready to be for the rest of your life a guy who shot and killed someone? I tell you, I am fucking not. This is a tangent that's going nowhere. I don't think there are any gun havers listening to this. Woo! Bye everybody. I've been Tom, an Anime Sicko.
Joe, that's me, an Anime Sicko.
Find us on Blue Sky now. I should probably re-record the outro to have our Blue Sky handles instead of Twitter handles. I'm not going to do it this week because I don't want to, but bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Anime Sickos. I've been Tom, a sicko. You can follow me on Twitter at TomHarrison19. Joe is also a sicko. You can follow him on Twitter at ShariaUncle. You can follow Anime Sickos on Twitter at Anime Sickos, or email us at animesickos@gmail.com. Please leave us a review or something. I don't know. Tell a friend. Anyway, until next time, bye.